You're listening to the Acadiana's Morning News Podcast, brought to you by LABI and always on KPEL965.com.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Louisiana.
This message presented by the LHSAA and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
If you really want to support our troops, just contact the USO.
You can't believe how much they do for us.
To find out how you can help, visit us at uso.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studio. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Remembering D-Day. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Biden is in France for events tomorrow, marking 80 years since the Allied invasion of Normandy, and then another speech on Friday.
France is our oldest, and one of our deepest allies, and this will be an important moment to affirm that alliance and also look to the future and what we have to accomplish together, both in the immediate term and in the longer term.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the president will be meeting with other heads of state, including Ukraine's President Zelensky. Saturday, he's hosted in Paris by the French President Emmanuel Macron. Around 200 D-Day veterans are in Normandy as honored guests. Jurors at the president's son Hunter Biden's federal gun trial hear audiobook excerpts about his addiction to crack cocaine. And we'll hear more today from an FBI agent testifying about text messages and bank records. Biden's charged with lying about drug use on a form to buy a handgun. Since midnight, the U.S. border with Mexico is closed to asylum seekers between official points of entry per the president's executive order, called a political stunt by some Republicans and facing a legal challenge from the American Civil Liberties Union.
In the absence of bipartisan agreement, President Biden says he's doing what he can to curtail a migrant crisis at the southern border.
We have to act. We must act consistent with both our law and our values.
The president was flanked by a group of lawmakers and border region mayors and law enforcement leaders.
They know the border is not a political issue to be weaponized. The responsibility we have to share to do something about it. They don't have time for the games played in Washington.
The order would turn away migrants seeking asylum in most cases between ports of entry. Once migrant encounters at 2,500 per day, daily averages already top that. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Trump campaign has opened its first campaign office in Pennsylvania in the reliably Democrat voting city of Philadelphia, trying to win a state back from Joe Biden. America's listening to Fox News.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and there are thousands of rave reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today. And see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, PROTECT to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Professional rock climber and guidebook author Charles Barrett is sentenced to life in prison for sexually assaulting a woman at Yosemite National Park in California in 2016. He was living and working there at the time. 3 other women testified Barrett assaulted them too, and prosecutors say he harassed and threatened violence against accusers for coming forward. Barrett claims the women are lying and he's the victim of a conspiracy. The use of the drug MDMA to treat post-traumatic stress disorder is rejected by a Food and Drug Administration advisory panel.
Known also as ecstasy or Molly, psychedelic advocates say MDMA triggers feelings of euphoria and connection, helping some, including veterans, process or let go of difficult memories. In its decision, the panel cited flawed data, potential risks, including heart problems, abuse, and noting the difficulty of identifying a patient's improvement versus simply undergoing extensive therapy. The FDA is not required to follow the group's advice and is expected to make a final decision on the matter by August. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Anyone with arachnophobia, fear of spiders, might start panicking just listening to this story.
Entomologists say invasive duro spiders the size of a human hand are expected in the New York, New Jersey area as early as this summer. These giant spiders hail from East Asia and are hard to miss with their 4-inch long fluorescent striped bodies and 6-inch long legs. While they appear menacing, they are of little risk to humans and rarely bite. The invasive species has been in the U.S. for about a decade, suspected of having hitched a ride on a container ship from China, Taiwan, or Korea. One bright spot is they eat another invasive pest, the spotted lanternfly.
That's Fox's Sue Guzman. Amanda Knox is reconvicted of slander in Italy for wrongfully accusing an innocent man of the murder she was once accused of her British roommate in 2007. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
It's Wednesday, time to take a look at your morning news. I'm Joe Cunningham. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office began what they thought was just another narcotics investigation, but it turned far worse and they needed to call in their Special Investigations Unit. The investigation, which began back in February, initially targeted Eric Bulliard, who was suspected of narcotics-related activities. Bulliard is the owner-operator of T. John's Mobile Home Park on Norris Road in rural Iberia Parish. However, things took a much more serious turn when the Special Investigations Unit uncovered more alleged crimes, including multiple sex crimes. One pivotal moment in the investigation occurred when the United States Postal Inspection Service reached out to SIU regarding an ongoing inquiry into his activities. This collaboration shed light on other potential criminal activities. Those allegations, which include the multiple sex crimes, prompted the involvement of the Louisiana State Police Special Victims Unit to bolster the investigation. Here we are months later, and Bulliard, age 44, has found himself in the custody of the Iberia Parish Jail. He faces a slew of charges filed by the Louisiana State Police and the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office related to the alleged sex crimes purported to have occurred in recent years. He is being charged with first-degree rape and molestation of a juvenile or person with a physical or mental disability, both serious felonies under Louisiana law. Those were charges from Louisiana State Police. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department levied charges of misdemeanor sexual battery and felony indecent behavior with a juvenile against him. He has a bond set for $1.25 million and waits further legal proceedings. The Lafayette Police Department is investigating in findings of a Louisiana Consolidated Government Administrative Investigation following the resignation of Walter Guillory, a former Parks and Recreation employee who served time in federal prison for bid rigging and wire fraud while director of 2 housing authorities. Guillory was hired in 2019 as the athletic program supervisor, a civil service position, serving as a liaison between the Parks Department and Lafayette's volunteer youth sports associations. He was hired during the administration of former Mayor President Joel Robideau. Gerald Boudreaux was Parks and Recreation Director at the time. The Robideau administration said at the time that Guillory would not be handling any money, but it did raise concerns in the community because he had previously served time in federal prison. And Governor Jeff Landry is out calling on the Biden administration to deregulate the oil and gas industry. If the federal government took its foot off the neck of American industry, we could absolutely lower the cost of everyday goods to American citizens, Landry said at an event in Chalmette when he was there with a contingent of Republican governors from across the U.S., this according to Channel 4 WWL in the New Orleans area. The group, which included the governors of Oklahoma, Georgia, Virginia, Alaska, New Hampshire, and North Dakota, blamed the Biden administration policies and regulations for driving inflation. And that is a look at your morning news. From the KPEL News Desk, I'm Joe Cunningham. This hour of Acadiana's Morning News has been brought to you by Janney King. The King of Clean has been a leader in the cleaning industry on the Gulf Coast for over 35 years. To find out more about their cleaning and disinfecting services, head to their website at jannyking.com.
Showers and thunderstorms continuing across Acadiana today. Looks like they will be arriving a little bit earlier than they have the last couple of days. So you'll want to keep that umbrella with you and keep an eye on the radar. Temperatures at about 90 degrees with the heat index near 100. Winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour with your overnight lows in the mid-70s. As far as tomorrow goes, scattered showers out there again. Drier air not getting in here until Friday. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Okay, just one thing you need to be aware of on our traffic board, and that is a wreck over in the western part of Lafayette Parish in Dusson. And that's at 2111 Mere Highway, and that's at its intersection with Lexington Drive in Dusson, so watch out for that area. Otherwise, buckle it up and keep it safe on this Wednesday morning. Hey, good morning, Acadiana. Welcome into Acadiana's morning news on this glorious Wednesday morning. Every morning is a glorious morning when we wake up. I'm Mark Pope over here on this side, and the voice you normally hear first off coming out of our news break is Tracy Wirtz. Well, Tracy's taking care of a little business, so she'll be back with us later in the week. So we shall keep you entertained and informed. And I say we because we do have a special guest host here on this Wednesday morning. And I was thinking about it, and I said, you know, I love the little rhymes, as does Tracy. You, me, and Benjamin B. And you say, who the heck's Benjamin B? Well, Ben Broussard, Catholic Charities of Acadiana. Ben, good morning.
Good morning. Yes. Look, Tracy, you can stay on vacation if you want. We're going to take care of it from here.
Yeah, we'll definitely take care of it. So did I get the title right? Catholic Charities of Acadiana?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
The longer you've been around, we were formed in 1973, and we were known as Lafayette Catholic Service Centers. Then we had a short period of time where we were Catholic Services. So really, you can call us whatever you want. But Catholic Charities of Acadiana, that's the one.
Sure. Well, there's a lot going on in the world. We're going to touch on that. But let's because we appreciate your being here this hour and guest hosting with us. So what is going on over at Catholic Charities? I know there's some fundraisers that you guys are participating in. So what's going on over at Catholic Charities, Ben?
Look, I will pivot over to Dustin Poirier for a second because everybody's excited about the hometown hero. Dustin, man, what a heartbreaker. I watched all 5 rounds on Saturday night with my boys. He's tougher than I think, 10 Ben Broussards put together.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine going through that. But he and his wife reached out to us a few months ago. This was actually a fight prior to Saturday and said, hey, we know that summer's coming up. We know that there are kids and families who normally count on lunch through the school lunch program. This was also back when the summer EBT program was not being continued. And he said, hey, through our foundation, the Good Fight Foundation, we want to put up a chunk of money and see if we can get that matched through the community. So, which is pretty cool. What they do is after their fight, he'll take his wraps, his gloves, and his what they call the fight kit. They auction that off, and then he put up some of his money too. And so now we've got $30,000 to match raising money for FoodNet Food Bank, which is our one of our programs that provides shelf-stable groceries to partner food pantries all across Acadiana, which Lord knows food pantries are going to be getting more phone calls this summer. They always do.
Sure.
And we have neighbors who are in a pinch. So we're in the middle of that right now. We're almost at the finish line for that fundraiser, which is a great place to be. And I really think that people are they're excited about kind of meeting the hometown hero where he's at. Did you see the pictures of him coming off the plane?
I did, and I saw his little couple of comments that Dustin made. But yeah, he's a great guy. He's rough and tumble. You'd look at him and you say, "Wow."
Yeah,
but he's got a heart of gold.
Heart of gold. He stayed at the airport and signed every autograph and took every selfie.
Right.
I mean, he stayed until everybody was taken care of, and I think it says a lot about him.
Oh, it does. And we're talking as though everybody knows the name, and most people do, but he's from Lafayette.
Lafayette, I think North Side grad, and he ended up becoming one of the biggest UFC fighters in the world.
Yes.
One of my colleagues was in Washington, D.C. a couple months ago, jumped in a cab with an Iranian cab driver who had just immigrated to the United States. When the Iranian cab driver asked my colleague where she was from, he got all excited. He said, "You know Dustin Poirier."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we're a little bitty town. I know the name. I've never met Dustin, but like you said, heart of gold. And when you mentioned everything about the summer feeding program, Ben, and all the contributions that Dustin Poirier is making, and then it came to mind that Second Harvest is having the ducky race out in Broussard. I believe it's late in June.
Yep.
But plenty of time for people to go and buy their tickets for that duck race because the money goes to Second Harvest. Are you guys partnered up with Second Harvest?
We had a pandemic era partnership with them where we actually converted St. Joseph Diner at a time where we couldn't have that congregate feeding to a place where we could mass produce meals and actually push them out of the diner instead of having folks in the diner. It was a great partnership. It sunset about a year and a half ago, but great people. I still see a couple of their representatives on a regular basis. Look, anybody that can get in this space and help to get food to pantries and food to families is doing the Lord's work.
Oh, no doubt about that. So since I mentioned it and I said Second Harvest, once again, like everybody recognizes that, and most do, Second Harvest Food Bank, they fight hunger in Acadiana, and their duck race is at St. Julian Park in Broussard, June 29th, and you buy the ducks, and your ducky could win, and that means you would get prizes. Obviously, 99.9% of the people buying the ducks are doing it to benefit Second Harvest Food Bank.
That's right.
But it's just a great family fun day, and so you have ample time to go and purchase your ducks. Go to the website no-hunger.org/ducks. And you can get all the details about the duck race and the family fun day in Broussard, St. Julian Park. Again, that's June 29th. So no-hunger.org/ducks. And there you have it. And with that little duck blurb, we need to take a break. We'll come back on the other side and continue Acadiana's Morning News. Ben Broussard sitting in with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Fox on Tech.
Former President Donald Trump takes his campaign to TikTok. He announced his arrival on the app with a video of him at a UFC fight. Introduced by CEO and President of the UFC, Dana White.
The President is now on TikTok. It's my honor.
The video then goes on to show a compilation of shots of the former president waving and mingling with the crowd.
Well done, right?
The businessman's account gained more than 1 million followers by Sunday, and by Monday morning, he was already up to 3.6 million globally, just days after becoming the first former president to be found guilty of felony charges. Former President Trump joins his political opponent, President Joe Biden, on TikTok, who signed a bill in April that could potentially ban the app in a year.
If Trump's stock in the Truth Social, his company, drops any lower, he might do better under my tax plan than his.
Social media site has more than 1 billion active users, with more than 150 of those in the United States. With Fox on Tech, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
Quick look at your weather on this Wednesday. We're going to see a pretty strong possibility of afternoon showers and maybe even late morning showers. 60% chance of the wet stuff. And otherwise, your high of 90 degrees today. Tonight, the chance of rain diminishes down to 20%. A partly cloudy evening, overnight low at 75. And for your Thursday, 40% chance of rain, mainly in the afternoon, your high at 91.
News Talk 96.5, KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Same mishap on the board we told you about earlier, and that is an accident out in Dusson, 2111 Mere Highway. That's at its intersection with Lexington Drive in Dusson. We have a wreck there. Sheriff is on site looking to clear that area, so buckle it up and keep it safe out there. Good Wednesday morning. Welcome back in Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope. Almost said Mark Broussard, Ben.
I thought you almost said Mark Garber.
No, well, I almost said the wrong thing. But Ben Broussard sitting in guest host this morning. We always appreciate your coming in and helping out, Ben. So, look, we were talking about sports, and you gave us that great background information about Dustin Poirier, helping with the summer feeding program.
Yeah.
And before we segue into other sports, so tell us about people who may be listening that might need the assistance of the summer feeding program. How do people find out more about that, Ben? And is there any application necessary?
Yeah, 232 Help is a great resource because you might be calling from Lafayette, you might be calling from Karen Crow or one of the surrounding, communities. And 232 Help is going to take your address, and they're going to plug you in with a partner food pantry that's nearest to you so that you're not driving from Breaux Bridge to Lafayette or going out of your way to have the assistance that you need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the partners that we may be leaving out is LPSS, Lafayette Parish School System, because I did see a news story recently about that. And from what I can recall, the story stated that there is no application that's required. So several options out there for the feeding programs with Second Harvest Food Bank, with 232 Help, with Catholic Charities of Acadiana, and with the Lafayette Parish School System.
Sure.
Yeah. So, check out those resources. In this age of information, it is certainly out there. But for those families that might need that assistance, it is certainly available out there. So check out all those possibilities. Okay, just a few minutes, but we kind of got into a little bit of sports about Justin Poirier. He just fought a championship fight, and man, the guy looked great. We said heart of gold, there's no doubt. But as far as his fighting skills, they're unquestioned. Yeah. But he has made multiple attempts at a championship, but has never been able to attain that.
I think you're right. And so after watching that, all 5 rounds on Saturday night, I was spent, and then I had to muster up a little bit more to watch my LSU Tigers.
Yeah.
And now that they're out and the Cajuns are out, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
Well, no, look, I hear you. I do watch the World Series, the NCAA World Series. And by the way, that's our segue point, because in softball, NCAA softball,
we do still have some softball.
Well, yes. Well, I think championship game, and who? It's the I think did they call it the Battle of the Red River? Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
They are in the championship game.
That's right.
And that is, both those teams are from the Big 12 Conference until.
That's right. Give them a year. Actually, I think Oklahoma comes next year.
Well, I don't know if they're staggered.
Yeah.
But you are correct. Oklahoma headed to the Southeastern Conference.
Man.
And maybe Texas the following year. And that happens this coming up in whatever their opening date is, late August. I know for the Cajuns, it's Saturday, August 31st, opening date for football. But, yeah, the Oklahoma Sooners will be in the SEC next year. But as far as softball goes, Oklahoma and Texas in the championship game, I do believe it is tonight. And they didn't just, walk in there, did Oklahoma, probably, they had all these records. The Cajuns beat them back earlier this softball season.
That's right.
And upset their string of, repetitive wins. And so same thing with playoff wins for the Oklahoma Sooners. Florida beat Oklahoma, and so Oklahoma had to come back and beat Florida. So we're down to 2 teams. NCAA softball College World Series being played in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma versus Texas tonight, championship, and I'm sure it will be on probably on ESPN.
That's right. Now, in softball, is it a best of 3 or is it like tonight, winner take all?
I think it's winner take all because Oklahoma was undefeated. Florida beat them, and then Oklahoma came back and beat Florida.
That's right.
So they're even. They're even. All is even. I believe it's winner takes all with this game. Texas versus Oklahoma for the NCAA championship.
So it's really a question for dads with girls out there because I'm raising 3 boys, and softball was never a part of the routine.
Right.
But at least I know that now with baseball and Dustin Poirier out, I've got something to watch on TV tonight.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. And then look, the baseball is down to 8 sites for what's called a super regional. Right. At each of the 8 sites, you have 2 teams, and they will play a best 2 of 3. And the winner of those at those 8 sites, that's your 8 teams that will go to the College Baseball World Series, which I'm not sure when it starts, but we have to go through the super regionals, which will be firing up, I think, Thursday or Friday, probably Friday.
So Friday, it's a best of 3. I know for that. That's going to be at the 8 sites. And then I believe that everybody goes to Omaha the week after that. That's right.
That's right. Yep,
Omaha.
Yep. So some things to look forward to. And the NBA playoffs start Thursday night if you have any interest in that. Okay, we have an interest in keeping you informed with the news, and it's time for our bottom of the hour news break. So stay tuned. Ben and I will be back after this bottom of the hour news break. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being with us.
KPEL covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
Join the Hilliard Art Museum on St. Mary Boulevard in Lafayette for their annual summer reception Friday, June 14th, as they celebrate their 2024 exhibitions. Loads of beautiful artwork by local renowned artists. And the beautiful artwork is complemented by hors d'oeuvres, drinks, and music. Get more details at 482-2278. Second Harvest Food Bank hosting its 3rd annual Duck Derby to benefit families facing hunger in Acadiana. The event is Saturday, June 29th at St. Julian Park in Broussard, 1 to 4 p.m. Loads of family fun. And if your ducky wins, you're helping a great organization and you could win some prizes. Find out about purchasing your ducks. Go to no-hunger.org/ducks. See you in Broussard, June 29th.
This is House Call for Health. A longtime member of Congress confirms she has cancer. Texas Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who's been in the House since 1995 and serves on 3 important committees, announcing she has pancreatic cancer and is undergoing treatment. Jackson Lee says she may occasionally be absent from Congress, but will continue to serve, and that her doctors have the best plan to combat the cancer. Lee serves on the Judiciary, Homeland Security, and Budget Committees. The Mayo Clinic describes this type of cancer as beginning as a growth of cells in the pancreas, which lies behind the lower part of the stomach and makes enzymes that help digest food and hormones that help manage blood sugar. The Mayo Clinic adds it's rarely caught at early stages because it doesn't usually cause symptoms until after it has spread to other organs. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
It's Wednesday. Time to take a look at your morning news. I'm Joe Cunningham. The Iberian Parish Sheriff's Office began what they thought was just another narcotics investigation, but it turned far worse and they needed to call in their Special Investigations Unit. The investigation, which began back in February, initially targeted Eric Bulliard, who was suspected of narcotics-related activities. Bulliard is the owner-operator of T. John's Mobile Home Park on Norris Road in rural Iberia Parish. However, things took a much more serious turn when the Special Investigations Unit uncovered more alleged crimes, including multiple sex crimes. One pivotal moment in the investigation occurred when the United States Postal Inspection Service reached out to SIU regarding an ongoing inquiry into his activities. This collaboration shed light on other potential criminal activities. Those allegations, which include the multiple sex crimes, prompted the involvement of the Louisiana State Police Special Victims Unit to bolster the investigation. Here we are months later, and Bulliard, age 44, has found himself in the custody of the Iberia Parish Jail. He faces a slew of charges filed by the Louisiana State Police and the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office related to the alleged sex crimes purported to have occurred in recent years. He is being charged with first-degree rape and molestation of a juvenile or person with a physical or mental disability, both serious felonies under Louisiana law. Those were charges from Louisiana State Police. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department levied charges of misdemeanor sexual battery and felony indecent behavior with a juvenile against him. He has a bond set for $1.25 million and waits further legal proceedings. The Lafayette Police Department is investigating in findings of a Louisiana Consolidated Government Administrative Investigation following the resignation of Walter Guillory, a former Parks and Recreation employee who served time in federal prison for bid rigging and wire fraud while director of 2 housing authorities. Guillory was hired in 2019 as the athletic program supervisor, a civil service position, serving as a liaison between the Parks Department and Lafayette's volunteer youth sports associations. He was hired during the administration of former Mayor President Joel Robideau. Gerald Boudreaux was Parks and Recreation Director at the time. The Robideau administration said at the time that Guillory would not be handling any money, but it did raise concerns in the community because he had previously served time in federal prison. And Governor Jeff Landry is out calling on the Biden administration to deregulate the oil and gas industry. If the federal government took its foot off the neck of American industry, we could absolutely lower the cost of everyday goods to American citizens, Landry said at an event in Chalmette when he was there with a contingent of Republican governors from across the U.S., this according to Channel 4 WWL in the New Orleans area. The group, which included the governors of Oklahoma, Georgia, Virginia, Alaska, New Hampshire, and North Dakota, blamed the Biden administration policies and regulations for driving inflation. And that is a look at your morning news from the KPEL News Desk. I'm Joe Cunningham. Pack your bags. We want to send you and a guest to experience the magic of Def Leppard's Summer Stadium Rock Tour this August. We want to fly you and a guest to San Antonio, Texas, where you'll see Def Leppard, Journey, and the Steve Miller Band in concert at the one and only Alamo Dome. What do you need to do? It's simple. Just listen to News Talk 96.5 KPEL weekdays for the codes you'll need to enter. Every day between now and June 7th at 9, 12, and 3 p.m., you're going to get a code. Enter that into the KPEL app, and you've got a chance to win. You'll get 2 tickets to see Def Leppard with Journey and the Steve Miller Band at the Alamo Dome on Friday, August 16th. Round-trip airfare for 2 to San Antonio, a 2-night hotel stay, and $500 spending money. If you don't have the KPEL app, you need to download it immediately. Listen every day at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 3 p.m. for your chance to win tickets to the Summer Stadium Rock Tour with Def Leppard and Journey on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Faith House has been Acadiana's safe haven since 1981 for victims suffering from violent or aggressive behavior in the home. This includes physical, emotional, financial, or sexual violence. We provide shelter, safety, advocacy, and resources to survivors and their children to empower them to break the cycle of abuse. Domestic violence affects 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in their lifetime. In 2016, Faith House opened the Family Justice Center located downtown Lafayette, which houses law enforcement, prosecutors, civil legal services, and advocates under one roof to expedite the response time to domestic violence and reduce homicide rates. If you or someone you know is in need of assistance, please call our crisis line at 888-411-1333 to speak to an advocate. If you would like to support our mission, find us on Facebook under Faith House Acadiana or our website, faithhouseacadiana.com. On behalf of the survivors and children we serve, thank you for 39 years of care for those hurting in our community.
Showers and thunderstorms continuing across Acadiana today. Looks like they will be arriving a little bit earlier than they have the last couple of days. So you'll want to keep that umbrella with you and keep an eye on the radar. Temperatures at about 90 degrees with a heat index near 100. Winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour with your overnight lows in the mid-70s. As far as tomorrow goes, scattered showers out there again. Drier air not getting in here until Friday. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Couple things on the traffic board to be aware of, and we have a wreck at the intersection of Moss and Willow Street. That's 1400 block of Moss at its intersection with Willow. Actually, it's not a wreck. It is a traffic signal malfunction. So if that's your usual path of travel, keep that in mind. That traffic signal is going to slow you down. Definitely use caution at that intersection. Also, a wreck at the 100 block of Vero School Road. For those of you who use that to travel to work or school, 100 Vero School Road, we have a wreck right there. Buckle it up and keep it safe on this Wednesday morning. Acadiana's Morning News continues. All right, welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope in with you on this Wednesday, and our special guest host, Ben Broussard. And that's an appropriate, if you will, Ben. Use the simpler word. Intro, sledgehammer, because you and I were talking about the weather. And I tell you what, the weather has been sledgehammering throughout Acadiana. So there's still debris out there. And, you know, to start your discussion, our discussion, before we came on the air, these storms are unusual for our area, storms which contain hurricanes, severe weather. We don't normally, did I say hurricanes? I meant tornadoes.
Yeah.
We don't normally see tornadoes down here in South Louisiana.
No, and I've lived here my whole life, and I do remember spring storms. You know, they form, I guess it's at the end of that, you know, cold front season. You have the spring storms. Usually you're experiencing them north of here. It's usually the Ohio River Valley and up there. And so we're usually worried about spring floods, about river levels and water coming down from those kind of northern territories. But when I grew up, the summertime was, the day would start, it would get hot, you'd have a thunderstorm in the afternoon, and then it would be just muggy. And then it would do it again the next day. But the size and scope of these storms that started rolling through really second week of May. The first one was Monday, May 13th. I was inside. I remember where I was. We were in an assembly, and it sounded like someone was throwing softballs on the top of the building that we were in. And we came out after, to find out what ended up happening. But man, just wreckage across the area. And so that was a 20-minute storm that spawned a tornado in St. Martin Parish. But it turned out to be basically 20 minutes of a Category 1 hurricane. Mm-hmm. And then it happened again 3 days later. And then we've had several instances. I mean, it was Saturday night. We had a microburst in Milton and Youngsville that created damage. And so I'm just trying to figure out if this is the precursor to hurricane season, if this is preseason, man, I don't know if I want tickets to the game.
Well, look, weather's very, very extremely complicated. You know, it has to do with water temperatures. And we have some normal weather patterns, El Nino and La Nina. I meant to look up. It means, you know, you would think, oh, wow, that's a big, heavy-duty meteorological term. No, El Nino means something like little farm. But I'll look those up later. But the bottom line is with El Nino, you have wind shear.
Yep.
And we had that last hurricane season. And so with that wind shear, it doesn't allow hurricanes to form and become maximum strength, if you will. And now we're segueing, keyword, segueing from El Nino to La Nina.
right.
In La Nina, you lack that wind shear, so it's more conducive to having the formation of hurricanes. But as far as these storms, Ben, and, that was a good description on your part, but I remember the meteorologist talking because we got hit twice in 1 week back in May with these spring storms, and both times you had tornadic activity within those storms, and the meteorologist said this is rare to see one of these come through in the springtime for us down here in South Louisiana is rare, but to see two of these type storms
in the same week, and I felt the same way. My wife and I were driving home from an event on that Thursday night. This was Thursday, May 16th, and we had to pull off the road. I was disoriented. It was raining so hard, and it was coming in sideways that I didn't know where I was. I had to pull off the road. And what this has kind of produced, so Catholic Charities of Acadiana, we have a disaster response program in our umbrella of services where we provide immediate response and long-term recovery to those impacted by disaster, just knowing that those who are experiencing poverty, those who are disconnected from society, those who are under-resourced, they will suffer at a disproportionate level than the rest of society because of it. And so right now, I'm looking at our board. We've got over 200 confirmed damage reports from St. Martin Parish to Acadia Parish, St. Landry Parish, got many in Lafayette. I've been on site over the past few weeks to many of them. Water oaks are no good. These are enormous trees that are not rooted deep at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just, trees on homes. I've seen, there was a home in Broussard that I took a look at. This water oak cut the home in half. Praise God, the lady who lived there was not there at the time. But it gets very complicated because you've got folks who are struggling to get by. They are homeowners. A lot of them are homeowners. But we can, now just kind of comment on the cost of insurance, the cost of living. I know my insurance has more than doubled. My home insurance has more than doubled over the past 4 or 5 years. That's a result of Hurricanes Laura, Delta, and Ida, and just the wallop that insurance companies have taken in Louisiana. So many of them have left the state.
Yep.
The ones that are still here, they're trying to recoup their losses, and man, it's tough because we're going in. We're hoping to get these jobs knocked out before we have to battle anything else coming up.
Agreed. And there are efforts in the legislative body, if you will, we have a new commissioner of insurance. He is doing what he can to try to lower insurance rates for Louisiana citizens. And I think that means everything from homeowners insurance to automobile insurance. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but you are correct. Let's do this, Ben. We're going to take our final break of this hour, and then let's come back and give the folks some, kind of tips on maybe they need some help with getting that debris hauled off. Maybe they're out in the rural areas. And, our listening audience is much more than Lafayette. I can give the Lafayette residents a little bit of insight because I worked for the Environmental Division for 27 years. So a few tips coming up after the break about how to get the storm debris on your property picked up, some do's and don'ts, and how to expedite that cleaning of your property. Mark Pope, Ben Broussard in with us. Take this short time out. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Every day, Mark fights retinitis pigmentosa, a blinding retinal disease. But even while his vision is taken, his family gives him hope. Because whether he's helping run their business or enjoying time at home with his wife and sons, Mark knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding diseases, providing real hope to those fighting vision loss. And our nationwide community of local chapters provides networking and support for people with vision loss, as well as their loved ones. Because the best way to fight against blinding diseases is to fight together. And for Mark, winning the fight against vision loss means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Learn more about how you can help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Live and local every day in Acadiana. And the only place you can voice your opinion on your favorite KPEL shows. We're your home for news and talk in Acadiana. This is KPEL.
Welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News. Just a few minutes left on this hour. Mark Pope in with Ben Broussard, and we were talking about the storm debris, and there's so much we could say, and there's so much involved in this discussion with insurance and so on and so forth. Right now we're dealing with the reality of debris still on the ground, and I'm going to start the discussion telling people how best to get this picked up. You can call 311 if you live in Lafayette Parish. If you live in, let me correct that, City of Lafayette or unincorporated parts of Lafayette Parish. You say, well, why do you have to complicate it, Mark? Well, we have 6 municipalities. Lafayette Consolidated Government is people in the City of Lafayette or in no city limits. So if that's where you live and you've had debris on the ground, you can call 311 or you can call 291-8517 and report the debris on the ground. It's best if you can make your pile of debris as neat as possible. And look, when it's just a lot of branches, what people do is, well, I'm going to make a bunch of little small piles and pile it up across the frontage of my property. That's not a good thing. Yeah, pile it like Ben's doing you need to make the pile as neat as possible. In other words, laying the branches all in one direction, and make as big a pile as you can. When it starts tumbling off the pile, then yes, you can move to another plot of grass in front of your house. But try to make the pile as large as possible without bringing the pile of debris out into the street. So that's just kind of a simplified version. If you need help, you're being told to call 232-HELP, and they can help out. So in the minute and a half we have left, Ben, go ahead and give us a quick summary about how 232-HELP is working, and if people want to volunteer to help the less fortunate who might need help getting their debris out to the road.
So Catholic Charities is a part of the Acadiana VOAD, so Acadiana Volunteer Organizations Active in Disaster. We're taking in damage reports through 232-HELP. And then working to triage these reports based on priority. We can only do so much as a group of organizations. We really need volunteers that are looking to help either with debris clearing, doing those additional damage assessments, which really is just making a visit to somebody, taking some pictures. But if you're skilled swinging a chainsaw, if you'd like to help with tarping a roof to minimize future damage, we would love to have you or your group or your church or your organization help us do that. We've got over 200 reports still there, so there's still work to be done.
Yes. All right. So how do they do that? Use the phone, old-fashioned way, 232-HELP.
That's right.
How about a website, Ben?
Yeah, so if you want to volunteer, actually, CatholicCharitiesAcadiana.org. There's a red bar at the top. You can click that link. CatholicCharities.org or call 232-HELP. Ben, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, as always, for your assistance this morning, and good luck with all the projects over at Catholic Charities of Acadiana. Thanks.
Yes, indeed. All right, we'll take a time out, news break, be back after 7. We have Mayor Ray Bork from Broussard in.
The Fox Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Dollar Tree is expected to sell or spin off its Family Dollar chain. The Wall Street Journal says the company's been working with financial advisors to review Family Dollar, which it purchased in 2015. Dollar Tree previously revealed plans to close nearly 1,000 Family Dollar stores over several years, while it wants to open hundreds of new Dollar Tree locations. Volvo Cars global sales rose 13% in May. It was helped by the popularity of a fully electric small SUV sold in Europe. Volvo's majority owner is China's Geely. Inditex, parent company of Zara, says sales jumped 12% in its spring quarter. Inditex produces clothing locally, which helped it to avoid supply chain issues caused by disruptions in the Red Sea. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda. Invested in you.
Gold demand is hitting record highs, but supply may not keep up. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your retirement savings from a chaotic world. To learn how to diversify your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals, text the word SHELTER to 989898 for a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Message and data rates. News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette.
Not enough, too much, or better than nothing? I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. There are mixed reactions to President Biden's executive order turning away migrants seeking asylum until fewer people are crossing the border.
South Texas officials like Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar say they would have preferred bipartisan legislation to deal with the border, but are supportive of President Biden's restrictions on asylum.
Is it perfect? No, it's not a perfect solution, but I think it's a really good start that I think we should all absolutely give a shot to.
Republicans in Congress say the executive order is nothing but a political stunt with little substance. The ACLU's Immigrants' Rights Project says it will challenge President Biden in court, writing in a statement it was illegal when Trump did it, and it is no less illegal now. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The Lebanese army says a security guard is wounded and an attacker is wounded and captured after firing shots at the U.S. Embassy in a suburb of Beirut, Lebanon. Now that he's convicted, a conviction that's being appealed, former President Trump wants a gag order in his criminal hush money case lifted.
Lawyers for former President Trump sent a letter to Judge Juan Merchan saying that since the end of the hush money trial last week, there's no longer a need for the gag order their client is under. The gag order was issued by Judge Merchan in March, who said it was necessary to limit the former president's statements out of court due to, quote, threatening, inflammatory, and denigrating comments. Trump lawyers say due to the former president's campaigning, it should be lifted, citing a debate with President Biden later this month and statements from adult film star Stormy Daniels and the former president's former attorney, Michael Cohen, both prosecution witnesses. Former President Trump was convicted of 34 felonies and faces sentencing on July 11th. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
An American man, John Nelson Pullis, is sentenced to 42 years in prison for the murder of his girlfriend, a DJ, Valentina Tres Palacios, a year and a half ago. America's listening to Fox News.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and there are thousands of rave reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, PROTECT to 989898.
Message.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
It's Wednesday, time to take a look at your morning news. I'm Joe Cunningham. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office began what they thought was just another narcotics investigation, but it turned far worse and they needed to call in their Special Investigations Unit. The investigation, which began back in February, initially targeted Eric Bulliard, who was suspected of narcotics-related activities. Bulliard is the owner-operator of T. John's Mobile Home Park on Norris Road in rural Iberia Parish. However, things took a much more serious turn when the Special Investigations Unit uncovered more alleged crimes, including multiple sex crimes. One pivotal moment in the investigation occurred when the United States Postal Inspection Service reached out to SIU regarding an ongoing inquiry into his activities. This collaboration shed light on other potential criminal activities. Those allegations, which include the multiple sex crimes, prompted the involvement of the Louisiana State Police Special Victims Unit to bolster the investigation. Here we are months later, and Bulliard, age 44, has found himself in the custody of the Iberia Parish Jail. He faces a slew of charges filed by the Louisiana State Police and the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office related to the alleged sex crimes purported to have occurred in recent years. He is being charged with first-degree rape and molestation of a juvenile or person with a physical or mental disability, both serious felonies under Louisiana law. Those were charges from Louisiana State Police. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department levied charges of misdemeanor sexual battery and felony indecent behavior with a juvenile against him. He has a bond set for $1.25 million and waits further legal proceedings. The Lafayette Police Department is investigating findings of a Louisiana Consolidated Government Administrative Investigation following the resignation of Walter Guillory, a former Parks and Recreation employee who served time in federal prison for bid rigging and wire fraud while director of 2 housing authorities. Guillory was hired in 2019 as the athletic program supervisor, a civil service position, serving as a liaison between the Parks Department and Lafayette's volunteer youth sports associations. He was hired during the administration of former Mayor President Joel Robideau. Gerald Boudreaux was Parks and Recreation Director at the time. The Robideau administration said at the time that Guillory would not be handling any money, but it did raise concerns in the community because he had previously served time in federal prison. And Governor Jeff Landry is out calling on the Biden administration to deregulate the oil and gas industry. If the federal government took its foot off the neck of American industry, we could absolutely lower the cost of everyday goods to American citizens, Landry said at an event in Chalmette when he was there with a contingent of Republican governors from across the U.S., this according to Channel 4 WWL in the New Orleans area. The group, which included the governors of Oklahoma, Georgia, Virginia, Alaska, New Hampshire, and North Dakota, blamed the Biden administration policies and regulations for driving inflation. And that is a look at your morning news. From the KPEL News Desk, I'm Joe Cunningham.
All right, as we look at our weather, technology not cooperating this morning, so we'll just tell you the weather from the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab. Partly cloudy today, 60% chance of showers, and that chance of showers might come as early as late morning today and certainly early into this afternoon. Your expected high today at 90 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy, just a 20% chance of overnight showers. Overnight low at 75. And for your Thursday, partly cloudy, high at 91 and a 40% chance of an afternoon shower.
News Talk 96.5, KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Just one thing you need to be aware of, and that is the early part, or the 100 block of Vero School Road. We do have an accident there. You have City Police, Lafayette City Police, and the Sheriff's Department clearing that accident, but keep that area in mind if that's your usual route of travel. Buckle it up and keep it safe. And good Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome into Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope here with you without Tracy, but Tracy will be back. She's taking care of some business on this Wednesday morning. So it is time for our Mayor's Minutes, and we bring in mayors from across Lafayette Parish today. Privilege and honor of Mayor Ray Bork from Broussard, Louisiana. Mayor, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mark, and everyone out there.
Yes, indeed. All right, always a lot happening in Broussard, and we're going to certainly talk about that. But, we had a discussion last hour about the storm debris collection. I don't know, I'm sure we talked about it in last month, Mayor, but How did Broussard fare as far as those storms that came through in May? Have you cleared all the debris from that?
Well, we're still clearing some debris. The worst storm for Broussard was actually the second significant one that came through. We lost power. There was one that was on a Monday night, I believe. We lost power on the southern part of Broussard, which Slimco supplies power for 5 to 6 hours, I think, in most cases. But the most significant damage was that same week on the Thursday or Friday, we had another round of storms, and we actually lost a home because a large oak tree fell on it. There was a mobile home that got smashed by a tree. Luckily, there were no significant injuries, but power was out on that side of town, which is the side supplied by Entergy, for several hours.
Right. Well, as our meteorologist throughout Lafayette told us back with those storms in May, and you are correct, Mayor, you said it right. There were 2 storms that hit in 1 week.
That's
and
right.
when we say storms, those spring-related storms where the cool air masses meet that warm, moist air, and Lord knows we have plenty of that in South Louisiana. But we don't normally get the tornadic activity that comes with those spring storms. And as our meteorologist throughout Lafayette reminded us, it's rare to see tornadic activity in Lafayette Parish, much less to see 2 storms in 1 week.
That's right. And we would see, what was surprising is there would be damage in Youngsville or another city that's not far from Broussard, but we didn't have a significant event in our city. So it's very regional. These tornadic activities can come up just in a few mile radius, and, it's scary.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes. So I would imagine 2 citizens of Broussard who may have storm debris still out. What should they do, Mayor? Call City Hall?
Yes, please make sure you're reporting that to City Hall. Our utility department creates the list. We have a contractor that's going around picking up branches. We do this for our citizens every week, but in a significant event like this, we usually do 1 day a week. That's standard practice for us. But we have our contractor working every day of the week now, and that's been going on the last couple of weeks just because of the volume.
And look, just because I want to get all the details we can, this is not an opportunity to clean. I'm assuming here, you correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, this is not the opportunity to clean your garage and bring out boxes of clutter and put that at the road. It's for storm debris.
It is, and you're right. What we're picking up currently is we're going to call it yard waste. It's branches, it's things from your flower bed, it's things like that. We have a contractor that comes around with a grapple on a tractor and a trailer, and he'll grab that in the front yard. We just need you to put it out by your mailbox somewhere. He'll put it in his trailer and he hauls it off. It's part of our what we would deem as our trash service for Broussard. We just are able to elevate it during situations like this because the volume is just tremendous.
Very good. Well, I know you guys are doing the best you can to try to expedite that storm cleanup, and that falls in, that whole mission falls in under quality of life issues from services coming from the city of Broussard. So I like that the key points on your our little blurb sheet here about what's going on in Broussard. We focus on 3 areas in Broussard: public safety, quality of life, economic development.
Yes, I believe in that wholeheartedly. It's our 3 pillars of success, and those 3 things are fundamentally tied together. When we find projects that seem worthy to do in Broussard, they often check more than one of those boxes.
Sure.
If we're helping our citizens with storm debris cleanup, that's quality of life, but it's public safety. We can't have all of this all over the city. We need to move quickly. We need to get our departments moving. And so please make sure that you call in with that address if you do have storm debris for us to pick up.
Sure. And without the storm debris, there is a good quality of life in Broussard. There is civic pride. And what that means is people know, don't throw things out of your car if you're walking about. Don't throw that empty soda pop can. Don't throw that empty bag of chips on the ground. And most people know that, but then when something does, let's say, inadvertently fly out of a pickup truck, the litter will appear on the side of the roads, and you guys do a good job about keeping the streets and the properties in Broussard clean. So talk about that, and from those efforts of both your citizens and your public works and your other Broussard departments, if you will, you're able to keep Broussard a very attractive community. And I believe you guys just got second place in the cleanest city contest across the state. So talk a little bit about that, Mayor.
We did, and it's from the efforts of a lot of hardworking employees, but as well as our citizens and the businesses in Broussard who maintain a clean property, which is very helpful. I do think it's important for quality of life and economic development to make sure that we are taking pride on how the city looks. We were able to enter ourselves into the contest. It's with the Garden Club of Louisiana and go through the process. We were judged twice. So we were first place in our region, and then we were able to take second place in the state. But it is absolutely a team effort. It's Public Works. It's we have a group of staff at City Hall who's very engaged with how to get into these contests, how to make sure that we're understanding what our efforts are doing for the city. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud of all those people. They're working hard to make sure they're elevating Broussard.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I look forward to on Sundays when I can resume my early Sunday morning motorcycle rides. I've told you I ride into Broussard. It's one of my favorite rides, if you will. Yes. And so I look forward to that. Now that my baseball season is over, because I've been pretty doggone busy with all the UL baseball and softball games going on, but we're past that and into the summer months. And speaking of things coming up in the summer, the budget for City of Broussard begins on July 1.
Yes.
And you guys are wrapping up your budget process. So tell us what's on that agenda for approving the budget for City of Broussard.
Sure. Budget has been the dominant project for the city in the last month or two. It ends at the end of June, and the new budget will begin on July 1st. So we are working on closing out our current budget and then opening up the new budget. I've got a council committee team that we call the Finance Committee that works with me to help prioritize projects. Our accountant comes in, our CPA comes in, helps us make sure that we can afford the things we want to do and what's the right avenue to pay for it. Then we're also working grants to see what we can get in. I mean, sometimes these grants take years to get. Projects can take years to complete. So we have certain projects right now like South Bernard Phase 3 between Pinhook and Highway 90, which we will be closing at the end of this calendar year. The bridge is out right now. We're getting a new bridge. But then we have new projects that'll come in that we haven't started yet because the grants will open up on July 1st, and it'll be in our new budget. So a lot of exciting things. We continue to invest in downtown Broussard. We're working on Phase 3 right now, doing all the civil work. That's in front of Arsenal Park. That's a place where most people would recognize the area. We're doing all the civil work. So the drainage, the ditches are being covered, the utilities are being moved. We're working on the road. As soon as that starts ending in our new budget, that'll be later this year, our new budget will have money in it to add the lights and sidewalks that you see at the Phase 1 of Broussard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk some more details, but we're coming up on a break. But before we go to that break, and we'll talk more details about the budget for City of Broussard when we return from our break. But I want to ask briefly, when you talk about how local governments are funded, to a large degree, we have 6 municipalities in Lafayette Parish, and most of those municipalities have a sales tax.
Correct.
That is used as a general rule for capital projects. And then you also have property taxes, which are used for dedicated things like drainage and roads. Well, City of Broussard does not have property taxes, and that is due to a sales tax that was approved by your voters back in, the early 90s?
No, I believe it was 92. That's right. Broussard sales taxes are inactive and have been inactive since that time. Broussard made the decision with the will of the people and a vote of the people to go in a direction where sales tax would be our funding source, and that has worked ever since. We've been on that thread, and we continue to invest and grow our own economy, and I'm happy to say that we are able to manage our budget with that plan.
Sure, and it seems to be working well. And just to kind of conclude, I know there's some folks out there who live in Broussard who say, but wait a minute, that can't be right, Mark. I get a tax bill. Yes, you do get a tax bill from Lafayette Parish.
Yes, you do.
And I live in the city of Lafayette. I get 2 property tax bills. I get one from Lafayette Parish government for dedicated items like drainage, like roads, juvenile detention center, which everybody in Lafayette Parish pays, whether you're in Scott, Karen, Crow, Broussard, Lafayette. But then they're going to get that Lafayette Parish property tax bill, your citizens in Broussard, but they're not going to get a property tax bill from the city of Broussard. So I just wanted to clarify that. All right, we are going to take a break. We'll come back with more information from Mayor Ray Bork. We're going to talk about some details of the budget process that they are now working on finalizing. Stay with us. More Acadiana's Morning News coming up. Mark Pope here with you.
Fox on Tech.
Former President Donald Trump takes his campaign to TikTok. He announced his arrival on the app with a video of him at a UFC fight, introduced by CEO and president of the UFC, Dana White.
The president is now on TikTok. It's my honor.
The video then goes on to show a compilation of shots of the former president waving and mingling with the crowd.
Well done, right?
The businessman's account gained more than 1 million followers by Sunday, and by Monday morning, he was already up to 3.6 million globally, just days after becoming the first former president to be found guilty of felony charges. Former President Trump joins his political opponent, President Joe Biden, on TikTok, who signed a bill in April that could potentially ban the app in a year.
If Trump's stock in the Truth Social, his company, drops any lower, he might do better under my tax plan than his.
The social media site has more than 1 billion active users, with more than 150 of those in the United States. With Fox on Tech, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
Implicit bias. We like it because, well, we like it. We take pride in Catholic conservative guy stuff. So this Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, grab a weekly whiskey and see if your implicit bias aligns with ours. Implicit bias. Saturdays, 10 a.m. News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Hit the right buttons, Mark. As we look at our weather, we're going to have a hot day today, 90 degrees, 60% chance of showers. That chance of showers coming late morning and early into the afternoon. Tonight, the clouds clear, 20% chance of rain, overnight low at 75. And for your Thursday, partly cloudy, high of 91 and a 40% chance of rain.
News Talk 96.5, KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We do have a couple things to be aware of. We have a road hazard on West Teljean Road. That's southbound off of Johnston Street. So it looks like to be a residential area, but definitely keep that in mind. Also, a vehicle accident should be about cleared out, and that's in the 100 block of Vero School Road. Buckle it up and keep it safe. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope in with you. Tracy taking a little time off, taking care of some business. She'll be back with us later in the week. But we are spending some time right now with Broussard Mayor Ray Bork. And Mayor, always lots going on in Broussard. In fact, just yesterday, you guys had a job fair in Broussard. So tell us a little bit about that and the expected benefits of that.
Well, we had a very successful job fair yesterday with the support of our local Economic Development Corporation. They did a great job making it happen for the city. But in the end, we had 38 employers who showed up seeking new employees. We had about 160 job seekers. And the report I'm getting is that we had over 170 interviews set up by those companies. So I would call that a success. We do this job fair every year. I believe this is our 3rd year. And it's all tied into business retention. What can we do to support the businesses that are in Broussard, help them be successful? Cities always want the next greatest thing, the next restaurant, the next store, and certainly we do too, and we work hard to be attractive to inviting those new businesses. But at the same time, we have to expend some efforts to try to help the businesses that already invest in our city to be successful. So the biggest thing we hear from them right now is that it's difficult to find employees. So if we can bridge that gap in any way, we're doing that, and we're trying to be there to support those businesses.
Sure. Tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes, or the logistics, if you will, of having a job fair in Broussard, because I'm guessing, Mayor, that you don't have an economic development department, but who was involved with Broussard government in setting up this job fair?
Well, I have a few staff members from my side that work with our economic development board. So we have a volunteer board in Broussard that kind of serves as that economic arm. They work with us on a lot of projects. One of those employees that volunteers is a Broussard resident but works for LEDA, so we're very close with Mandy Mitchell and her team at Lafayette Economic Development Authority. And that is a great partnership because they have resources and knowledge that it would be hard for a smaller city to have. And just having that partnership means we can send ideas up the ladder. They're there to support us when we're trying to do events. That same board does a couple of things every year. The job fair, we have a retail broker and investors luncheon once a year where we talk about Broussard and the advantages of investing there. They also do a manufacturer's lunch where local manufacturers come out and they get plugged into initiatives, incentives, anything on that topic about programs that might help them to be successful, because manufacturing really is sort of a different animal than retail.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, good summary. And before we're going to take our bottom of the hour news break, and we promised the folks we'd talk a little bit more about the specifics of the Broussard budget, which you and your city council is working on, and your budget year begins July 1, so that's just around the corner. And we will do that after our bottom of the hour news break. But speaking of the job fair, businesses coming to Broussard, some of the new businesses that you have recently: Signorama, Acadiana Optics, Avast Construction, Scooters Coffee, Dollar General. Both of those establishments have permits with the city to build locations. And Elevation Station plans to add a kids bowling alley.
That's right. That'll be fun.
That's a lot of, how shall we say, diverse businesses that are coming to Broussard to help with the quality of life and, just the living experience of being in Broussard.
That's right. And we're proud to have them.
Indeed. Good job. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the Broussard budget, which the mayor and his city council are working on. So we'll take this bottom of the hour news break. Stay with us right here on Acadiana's Morning News.
KPEL covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
Join the Hilliard Art Museum on St. Mary Boulevard in Lafayette for their annual summer reception Friday, June 14th, as they celebrate their 2024 exhibitions. Loads of beautiful artwork by local renowned artists. And the beautiful artwork is complemented by hors d'oeuvres, drinks, and music. Get more details at 482-2278. Second Harvest Food Bank hosting its third annual Duck Derby to benefit families facing hunger in Acadiana. The event is Saturday, June 29th at St. Julian Park in Broussard, 1 to 4 p.m. Loads of family fun. And if your ducky wins, you're helping a great organization and you could win some prizes. Find out about purchasing your ducks. Go to no-hunger.org/ducks. See you in Broussard, June 29th.
This is House Call for Health. A longtime member of Congress confirms she has cancer. Texas Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who's been in the House since 1995 and serves on 3 important committees, announcing she has pancreatic cancer and is undergoing treatment. Jackson Lee says she may occasionally be absent from Congress, but will continue to serve, and that her doctors have the best plan to combat the cancer. Lee serves on the Judiciary, Homeland Security, and Budget committees. The Mayo Clinic describes this type of cancer as beginning as a growth of cells in the pancreas, which lies behind the lower part of the stomach and makes enzymes that help digest food and hormones that help manage blood sugar. The Mayo Clinic adds it's rarely caught at early stages because it doesn't usually cause symptoms until after it has spread to other organs. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
It's Wednesday, time to take a look at your morning news. I'm Joe Cunningham. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office began what they thought was just another narcotics investigation, but it turned far worse and they needed to call in their Special Investigations Unit. The investigation, which began back in February, initially targeted Eric Bulliard, who was suspected of narcotics-related activities. Bulliard is the owner-operator of T. John's Mobile Home Park on Norris Road in rural Iberia Parish. However, things took a much more serious turn when the Special Investigations Unit uncovered more alleged crimes, including multiple sex crimes. One pivotal moment in the investigation occurred when the United States Postal Inspection Service reached out to SIU regarding an ongoing inquiry into his activities. This collaboration shed light on other potential criminal activities. Those allegations, which include the multiple sex crimes, prompted the involvement of the Louisiana State Police Special Victims Unit to bolster the investigation. Here we are months later, and Bulliard, age 44, has found himself in the custody of the Iberia Parish Jail. He faces a slew of charges filed by the Louisiana State Police and the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office related to the alleged sex crimes purported to have occurred in recent years. He is being charged with first-degree rape and molestation of a juvenile or person with a physical or mental disability, both serious felonies under Louisiana law. Those were charges from Louisiana State Police. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department levied charges of misdemeanor sexual battery and felony indecent behavior with a juvenile against him. He has a bond set for $1.25 million and waits further legal proceedings. The Lafayette Police Department is investigating in findings of a Louisiana Consolidated Government Administrative Investigation following the resignation of Walter Guillory, a former Parks and Recreation employee who served time in federal prison for bid rigging and wire fraud while director of 2 housing authorities. Guillory was hired in 2019 as the athletic program supervisor, a civil service position, serving as a liaison between the Parks Department and Lafayette's volunteer youth sports associations. He was hired during the administration of former Mayor President Joel Robideau. Gerald Boudreaux was Parks and Recreation Director at the time. The Robideau administration said at the time that Guillory would not be handling any money, but it did raise concerns in the community because he had previously served time in federal prison. And Governor Jeff Landry is out calling on the Biden administration to deregulate the oil and gas industry. If the federal government took its foot off the neck of American industry, we could absolutely lower the cost of everyday goods to American citizens, Landry said at an event in Chalmette when he was there with a contingent of Republican governors from across the U.S., this according to Channel 4 WWL in the New Orleans area. The group, which included the governors of Oklahoma, Georgia, Virginia, Alaska, New Hampshire, and North Dakota, blamed the Biden administration policies and regulations for driving inflation. And that is a look at your morning news. From the KPEL News Desk, I'm Joe Cunningham.
Showers and thunderstorms continuing across Acadiana today. Looks like they will be arriving a little bit earlier than they have the last couple of days. So you'll want to keep that umbrella with you and keep an eye on the radar. Temperatures at about 90 degrees with the heat index near 100. Winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour with your overnight lows in the mid-70s. As far as tomorrow goes, scattered showers out there again. Drier air not getting in here until Friday. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Currently, we have 75 degrees.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Same couple of issues on the board that we reported to you last. We have a hazard in the roadway hazard in a residential area, Teljean Road, out southbound off of Johnston Street. And 100 Vero School Road, a vehicle wreck reported earlier, should be about cleared up by now. Buckle it up and keep it safe. Welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope in, Tracy Wirtz out, but Tracy will be back a little bit later this week, taking care of a little business And we have Broussard Mayor Ray Bork, and the phone rang just before we got back on air, Mayor. And sometimes people don't have their map out, and the areas of concern that they call about are not necessarily in your jurisdiction. But Bonnet, did you write that down? Bonnet and La Nouvelle?
I did.
Is there any issue you can think of?
Bonnet and La Nouvelle is currently a four-way stop. I don't know. It's an area that gets some heavy traffic in peak times. Lafayette has been planning to do a roundabout there for many years. We have one corner of that intersection. I believe Lafayette has the other three. There's an electrical substation there, if you're familiar with that area. But I don't know if there was a wreck there this morning or something's going on, but it was in Lafayette's scope to do a project there over the last several years. I'm not sure if they've changed plans or not, but we are certainly supportive of that improvement if they decide to continue with it.
Yeah, you're right. It is a busy intersection. So, okay, as we continue our discussion about improving quality of life in Broussard, economic development, you guys actually had a job fair yesterday. You gave us a summary on that earlier. But let's talk a little bit more about the details of the budget in Broussard, which, by the way, your budget year kicks off July 1st, just a little less than a month away. So what are some of the other issues that you and the Broussard City Council are working on with that budget, Mayor?
Sure. Besides just projects that are going on, like the downtown Envision Broussard, next level improvements, Highway 89 continuing to be designed and going to go into construction next year, South Bernard Road going on, the bridge we're changing at Garber Road. Besides projects that are just going to be good for our infrastructure, we also have to consider our employee package. So we've been working with our chiefs both on the police side and the fire side, and we've been talking about what is competitive pay, what does that look like, what is the market bearing right now, and what's Broussard doing? Are we doing enough? So in this current budget, working with those groups, we've decided to put forward for the entire council to look at a pay increase for our police department and the fire department. They work on pay scales. So there's been a lot of work that's gone into that, but we're fully supportive of that. I believe our council will be supportive of that because we have to make sure that we're hiring the best people we can for Broussard. Then, of course, there'll be some increases for our employees within that also, our public works employees and administrative employees. But they're all looked at differently. Some of these departments are funded differently than others, so it's just a process to get through it. But certainly we want to make sure we're taking care of the people that are taking care of Broussard.
Sure. I notice on your list of items that are being considered for the coming budget is $1 million for engineering to improve the water system. Talk about the current water system. Is it do you buy the wholesale water from LUS?
We do. We're about 70% of our water comes from LUS currently. We produce the other 30%. The drought of last year really showed some weaknesses in everyone's system when you get under extreme conditions. So we've been planning for a while, and now we're earmarking some money to do engineering to bolster that system, which will have a lot to do with, I'm going to call it master planning, to have a plan on our water systems that's going to walk through the next several years to put Broussard in the best position. But it's about above-ground storage. It's about improving and upgrading the facilities that we already have and own. Looking at the city as a whole to make sure that we can not only be dependent on LUS for their water, but we could be of service to them if they ever have a problem and send water back, which happens sometimes during extreme times like fires or droughts. Sometimes we have to do it that way, and the system should be set up that way. Redundancy is key in a water system to make sure that there's enough available volume for whatever comes up.
And people, I'm glad you said that, Mayor, because people don't realize the complexity of a water system, of an electrical system, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And as you said, redundancy. And if our summers are hot typically, and if sometimes when too many people are watering their lawns, there's a heavy demand on that water system, just like when in the heat of the day, there's a heavy demand for electricity because all the air conditioners are running full bore. So, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm glad that with your growing community that you're working on expanding that water system. And as you said, excellent term, you need to have redundancy built into a good, solid, reliable water system. So sounds like a good move there. Let us end on a fun note. And, of course, there are some great restaurants in Broussard. And so you guys are having the first ever Broussard Restaurant Week this week. So tell us what's on that list and what people can do to go and enjoy some great dining and get some good deals at Broussard restaurants.
Absolutely. Great idea came out of a couple of our employees that work at City Hall to promote the businesses of Broussard. So we're giving this a try, but there's been a lot of excitement around it. First and foremost, download the Discover Broussard app on your phone. Then once you open that app up, it will show you the list of restaurants that are participating in this event. Each restaurant is offering a discount. So when you're in the restaurant, show your server that you have the app on the phone, and you will get rewarded with either a discount or a free dessert or whatever the restaurant has chosen, and that's all clearly identified on the app for you on what you're going to get. So it's about maybe getting people to restaurants they don't normally eat at and supporting our local businesses.
Sure. And Fizzo's they haven't been in Broussard all that long.
It's been 6 years, 8 years, maybe something like that.
Well,
yes.
I knew they had been there a while. I was thinking more like 5, but Fizzo's is definitely a staple in Acadiana. They have multiple locations. So there's a special at Fizzo's today, 25% off your order. Tomorrow, Burgersmith. They have great, great, great burgers and free onion rings or a side of fries tomorrow at Burgersmith. And on Friday, Misfits. You get a nice discount there. So great information, Mayor Bork, and good luck as you guys work to wrap up that budget process in Broussard, and we look forward to having you in July when you'll have your budget passed and you guys will be flying high.
Hey, I appreciate the time. And one final note about the restaurant week is between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. every day. That's the time you want to be there.
Gotcha.
So, but it is always a pleasure to be here. You do a great job, Mark, just helping us get information out, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
Good deal. Thank you. That's Broussard Mayor Ray Bork. Thanks again, Mayor. Have a great week. We'll see you in July. Okay, we'll take a time out. Be back with more Acadiana's Morning News. Stay with us.
Phone lines are open. Call the show at 232-1542. 232-1542. Then listen live anytime with the free KPEL News app. Free in the App Store or Google Play.
And a quick look at your weather on this Wednesday morning. Partly cloudy today, 60% chance of showers. That chance of rain coming as early as late morning and then early into the afternoon. 90 degrees for your high, unless that is a rained cool temperature this afternoon. Also, partly cloudy tonight, chance of rain down to 20%, overnight low at 75. And for your Thursday, high of 91 degrees, partly cloudy conditions, and a 40% chance of rain. Currently, we have 76 degrees.
News Talk 96.5, KPEL. Right now, traffic.
And it looks like everything has been cleared from the board. We had a wreck over on Vero School Road, and a residential area had a road hazard. Both those situations have been cleared, and the board is all clear, so let's keep it that way. Buckle it up and keep it safe. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, Lafayette Parish School System Superintendent Francis Touchette in. We're going to talk about the importance of early childhood education. And welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope in with you, and you say, well, where is Tracy, Mark? Well, Tracy's taking care of some business. She'll be back with us a little bit later this week, so never fear. We shall get you back to our regular programming. But otherwise, I'm driving the bus and doing all the other assigned duties of the morning show. We shall get through. We have a very interesting hour next hour. Lafayette Parish School Superintendent Francis Touchette in. We're going to talk about early childhood education and some other things going on at the school board. School board has numerous camps they're operating throughout Lafayette Parish. We'll talk a little bit about that. And Superintendent Touchette attended a teacher conference in New Orleans last week. So there are some interesting things he can tell us about that conference. And Superintendent Touchette is a hands-on superintendent. So he's there right along with his teachers, learning the latest about education and applying that back here in Lafayette Parish. So that is all coming up. Some other things we may talk about last week. You may have heard that President Joe Biden executed an executive order. I don't know, is that redundant? He signed, how about that one? He signed an executive order to limit migrants crossing into the U.S. to 2,500 a day. And we can, if we have some time next hour, we can talk about that and just everything pertaining to that southern border situation. So a lot coming up here on Acadiana's Morning News. We'll take our end of the hour news break and followed by local news and traffic and weather right here on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Mark Pope in with you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Stick around. We'll be back after the news.
Fox Business Report is brought to you by Walter Campbell and Deborah Pierce of Keller Williams Realty. For all of your commercial property needs, reach out to Walter and Deborah today.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Dollar Tree shares are down 2%, though the company's earnings met expectations for its first quarter. It's looking into whether it should sell or spin off its Family Dollar business. Also, Dollar Tree says a tornado destroyed one of its distribution centers in Marietta, Oklahoma on May 4th, which resulted in losses of $117 million. Deere & Company plans to reduce its production and salaried workforce. It didn't reveal how many jobs will be cut. The farm and construction machinery company says it's reducing overlap and redundancy. And software giant SAP is buying WalkMe, the parent company of travel and expense management service Concur. It is an all-cash deal valued at about $1.5 billion. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
Gold demand is hitting record highs, but supply may not keep up. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your retirement savings from a chaotic world. To learn how to diversify your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals, text the word SHELTER to 989898 for a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Message and data rates.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studio. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
An ex-wife on the stand. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Kathleen Buell is expected to testify at Hunter Biden's federal gun trial in Delaware today after more testimony from an FBI agent. Prosecutors also played parts of Hunter Biden's audiobook where he talks about drugs.
They played massive amounts of excerpts from it during the first day of questioning with FBI Special Agent Erica Jensen. They're using his words to establish he was a crack user and an addict when he bought that gun back in 2018. Prosecutors also showed the page of that gun form asking if the gun buyer, Hunter in this case, was in use of illegal drugs. It's marked no. They show text from Hunter the day after he brought the gun saying he was waiting for a dealer named Mookie. The defense says the gun form essentially asks whether Hunter is currently a drug user. It doesn't ask whether if he's ever done drugs.
Fox's Rich Edson in Wilmington. A triple-digit heat wave peaks today in the west.
Today's weather headline is dangerous heat with record-breaking highs over California, the desert Southwest, and parts of South Texas. Temperatures will be in some cases 20 to 30 degrees above average and well over 100 degrees for some cities through Friday.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. An American once convicted of murder is reconvicted of slander in Italy.
Exonerated over the 2007 murder of a British student, Amanda Knox was trying to clear her name again. This time a charge of slander for wrongly pinning Meredith Kircher's death on an innocent bar owner. Knox was a 20-year-old exchange student in the city of Perugia at the time, now a 36-year-old mother of two. She claims she pointed the finger at Patrick Lumumba because police forced her to, but the court sentenced her to 3 years in jail. Knox won't actually go back to prison because of time already served. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
The Lebanese army says a man who fired shots at the U.S. Embassy is wounded in a gunfight and captured, and that a security guard's wounded. America's listening to Fox News.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and there are thousands of rave reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today. And see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, PROTECT to 989898.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
It's Wednesday, time to take a look at your morning news. I'm Joe Cunningham. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office began what they thought was just another narcotics investigation, but it turned far worse and they needed to call in their Special Investigations Unit. The investigation, which began back in February, initially targeted Eric Bulliard, who was suspected of narcotics-related activities. Bulliard is the owner-operator of T. John's Mobile Home Park on Norris Road in rural Iberia Parish. However, things took a much more serious turn when the Special Investigations Unit uncovered more alleged crimes, including multiple sex crimes. One pivotal moment in the investigation occurred when the United States Postal Inspection Service reached out to SIU regarding an ongoing inquiry into his activities. This collaboration shed light on other potential criminal activities. Those allegations, which include the multiple sex crimes, prompted the involvement of the Louisiana State Police Special Victims Unit to bolster the investigation. Here we are months later, and Bulliard, age 44, has found himself in the custody of the Iberia Parish Jail. He faces a slew of charges filed by the Louisiana State Police and the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office related to the alleged sex crimes purported to have occurred in recent years. He's being charged with first-degree rape and molestation of a juvenile or person with a physical or mental disability, both serious felonies under Louisiana law. Those were charges from Louisiana State Police. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department levied charges of misdemeanor sexual battery and felony indecent behavior with a juvenile against him. He has a bond set for $1.25 million and waits further legal proceedings. The Lafayette Police Department is investigating in findings of a Louisiana Consolidated Government Administrative Investigation following the resignation of Walter Guillory, a former Parks and Recreation employee who served time in federal prison for bid rigging and wire fraud while director of 2 housing authorities. Guillory was hired in 2019 as the athletic program supervisor, a civil service position, serving as a liaison between the Parks Department and Lafayette's volunteer youth sports associations. He was hired during the administration of former Mayor President Joel Robideau. Gerald Boudreaux was Parks and Recreation Director at the time. The Robideau administration said at the time that Guillory would not be handling any money, but it did raise concerns in the community because he had previously served time in federal prison. And Governor Jeff Landry is out calling on the Biden administration to deregulate the oil and gas industry. If the federal government took its foot off the neck of American industry, we could absolutely lower the cost of everyday goods to American citizens, Landry said at an event in Chalmette when he was there with a contingent of Republican governors from across the U.S., this according to Channel 4 WWL in the New Orleans area. The group, which included the governors of Oklahoma, Georgia, Virginia, Alaska, New Hampshire, and North Dakota, blamed the Biden administration policies and regulations for driving inflation. And that is a look at your morning news. From the KPEL News Desk, I'm Joe.
Showers and thunderstorms continuing across Acadiana today. Looks like they will be arriving a little bit earlier than they have the last couple of days. So you'll want to keep that umbrella with you and keep an eye on the radar. Temperatures at about 90 degrees with a heat index near 100. Winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour with your overnight lows in the mid-70s. As far as tomorrow goes, scattered showers out there again. Drier air not getting in here until Friday. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Currently, we have 77 degrees under mostly sunny skies.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Okay, so we do have a wreck in the 200 block of Ambassador Caffrey. That's Ambassador at its intersection of Willow, West Willow. So keep that area in mind. And a commercial fire just popping up out in the unincorporated parts of Lafayette Parish, or maybe the outskirts of City of Lafayette. 610 Pilet Road at its intersection with View Orleans. That's definitely in the City of Lafayette. Keep that area in mind. Emergency vehicles en route. And good morning. Welcome in to the 8 o'clock hour, Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope in with you. Tracy Wirtz will be back with us a little bit later this week, taking care of some important business. So we do look forward to that. We also, every Wednesday, look forward to our segment with the Lafayette Parish School System. Superintendent Francis Touchette comes in and tells us what's going on over at the school system. So, Francis, welcome in. Thanks for your time this morning.
Well, thank you, Mark.
Yes, sir. Now, we are going to talk about early childhood education, and you did bring your director of early childhood education at the Lafayette Parish School System, Emmy Thibodeau. We're going to speak to Emmy as a little bit later, but why don't you start us off, Francis? Tell us the importance of early education in the Lafayette Parish school system, or in any school system for that matter.
Well, first of all, we all look at, the development of a child and what it takes to be able to get a child ready for school age education. And the most important thing that we have learned over the years is that the brain of a child is developed within the 0 to 3 years, and 90% of that is there. So when we talk about, even before they get to us, what parents need to be doing is, first of all, reading to their kids at least 15 minutes a day, making sure that we expose them to different types of stimuli so that they are able to kind of develop that brain. The one thing that I did with my kids is that I actually, when they watch TV, closed caption was something of which we made sure that was scrolling across the actual TV to make sure that they're making that connection from what they're hearing to what is actually going on as far as the words that are scrolling across the bottom. So when we talk about the importance of getting that kid ready, we just ask our parents out there just to take some time and make sure that we're providing those different type of stimuli so that development of that brain, which again, 90% of it is actually developed by 3 years old. So that to me is what we see as far as benefits to what needs to be happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you would define for us when we say early childhood education, I attended kindergarten, but that was it, other than being in the home and getting that early childhood education from my parents, but things have evolved since then. So define what age group you're talking about when you say early childhood education.
Yes, So early childhood is defined actually as birth. You can actually have education happening in utero, but for our purposes, we define early education as birth to age 5, where research also shows that the impacts of education go into age 8 and beyond. There's lifelong impacts from the early education defined before entering school all the way through high school and success in adult life.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And that's Emmy Thibodeau, folks, Director of Early Childhood Education at the Lafayette Parish School System. So, Emmy, what programs are currently offered at the Lafayette Parish School System for early childhood?
Absolutely. So the Early Childhood Department not only offers pre-K, so our pre-K 4 program across the district in many of our elementary schools, but we also operate a teen parenting program for those who may experience that during their high school career. We also offer what is called a child care resource and referral agency. So that agency helps parents maybe before age 5 looking for child care, trying to find the best parenting advice, getting tips like Mr. Touchette shared, and making that child's development very successful. And then lastly, we work with over 65 programs in Lafayette Parish in what's called our network. So this is childcare, early Head Start programs that offer different programs. And it helps to provide that opportunity in case parents are interested in enrolling their children. We work with those programs to ensure they're high quality.
Mm-hmm. And to be quite honest, since I haven't had early childhood youngsters for quite some time, tell us how long early education has been in public school systems and specifically Lafayette Parish. Talk about generally when that began, if you would, Emmy, and the evolution. Just everything you just said kind of was a description of the evolution of that, but talk about the beginnings of early childhood education and its evolution.
So Lafayette Parish was one of the first pioneers in early education in Lafayette Parish. I'm thankful that those before me provided that education and offered. So most of our work expanded in 2009 and has since then really taken off. In 2012, the passing of Act 3, which is the legislative act that ensures all children are ready for kindergarten, that really enhanced and expanded that work as all early childhood education moved under the Louisiana Department of Education as a education source of information, since it is so critical. So in 2012, really the work began to truly expand to what it is today.
Interesting. And I know when somebody decides, okay, I'm going to, my specialty is going to be education in at a university level. And there are all kind of specialties. So, and I'm sure early childhood education is part of the curriculum, but do you have any specialty training in early childhood education?
So the interesting thing about early childhood is that there's a diverse way of getting to that platform. So some may specialize in child and family studies or a human development approach where it's a birth to actually death approach, or there is a specific teaching certification in early education where those who wanted to become educators could have an early childhood platform. So I thankfully have the alternative approach of child and family studies, so approaching that whole family approach. But there are a variety of ways that people can learn about early childhood education and how to specialize in teaching that skill.
Interesting. So are you working along with the director of curriculum at the Lafayette Parish School System as far as the curriculum that's developed for specifically the Lafayette Parish School System?
Absolutely. So Ms. Janine Floor is my supervisor, but we work closely alongside her and Ms. Ginger Richard, the director of elementary schools, to ensure that our pre-K curriculum aligns with those in K2. But especially the Tier 1 curriculum that we're using is highly rated as efficient for the Louisiana Department of Education. So the curriculum we're using ensures that children are prepared for success in kindergarten and beyond.
Okay, interesting. So I don't know who's going to address the next question, be it you or Superintendent Touchette, but talk a little bit about enrollment and how to apply, and maybe people want to go online and learn about what's offered through the Lafayette Parish School System. How do we do all of the above?
Awesome. So our base homepage is enrolllafayette.com. So that's our enrollment site. It has information about all types of programs across the parish. It lets you know how you're eligible. It lets you know what they are offering, what services, their hours, how to contact that program. And that is where all applications are housed. It is a one-stop shop for families, whether you're enrolling an infant all the way to a preschooler. You can go to that one website that was enrolllafayette.com. Enroll is open right now, enrollment, and it is ongoing until all seats are filled. So We process applications throughout the school year to ensure that every family who's interested, regardless if you're just moving to the area or you've been in Lafayette all your life, when you're ready to enroll your child, we're ready to help.
Outstanding. And we could say, okay, we gave the information, go to the website, but when I have the people who are behind the program sitting in this studio, I like to ask the question, what are some of the particulars of applying? Because my guess is, and you guys sent out notice, earlier this year, it may even have been in late 2023, the Lafayette Parish School System did, about enrollment in early childhood education. So what is required? My guess is a birth certificate, among other things. Talk a little bit about how a parent enrolls his or her child in that early education program.
Right, that's correct. That's the first item you need is, of course, to prove your child's age, you'll need a birth certificate. Additionally, most programs ask for an immunization or shot record to ensure that the child is up to date or has a waiver for those shots. Additionally, for most programs, proof of residence, ensuring that you're a Lafayette resident is one of the program options, unless it's a program that serves multiple parishes. And then other than that, there are some programs, since they are grant funded, that do require proof of income. So depending on which program you're applying for, you may also be requested to provide a proof of income for that household income.
Okay. And finally, what about, people just heard all that information and might be slightly overwhelmed. Maybe they're just moving into Lafayette Parish. What if somebody needs assistance with the application process, Emmy?
Yes. So we, as our office, we provide services all week, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at our office, which is located on Town Center Parkway in Lafayette. However, this month in June, we are taking our office on the road. So we will be found at different elementary schools all across the parish, offering support in different areas of the parish. So if you're interested in maybe going to an area in Youngsville or Broussard that's closer to your home, or even North Lafayette, or even we're headed to West Side in a few weeks, those schedules and events are on the LPSS website. It's also on our Facebook page, Lafayette Ready Start, where you can find where our office will be located. We're hitting the road to support families with traveling, but also to get them the answers right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, outstanding. And the website is lpssonline.org?
.com.
lpssonline.com. No hyphens in online. lpssonline.com. Sorry to be redundant, but hopefully it's firmly in your memory. All right, we're going to take a time out and come back and talk more with Emmy Thibodeau, Director of Early Childhood Education, and Superintendent Francis Touchette, right here on Acadiana's Morning News. Stay with us.
Fox on Tech.
Former President Donald Trump takes his campaign to TikTok. He announced his arrival on the app with a video of him at a UFC fight, introduced by CEO and President of the UFC, Dana White.
The President is now on TikTok. It's my honor.
The video then goes on to show a compilation of shots of the former president waving and mingling with the crowd.
Well done, right?
The businessman's account gained more than 1 million followers by Sunday, and by Monday morning, he was already up to 3.6 million globally, just days after becoming the first former president to be found guilty of felony charges. Former President Trump joins his political opponent, President Joe Biden, on TikTok, who signed a bill in April that could potentially ban the app in a year.
Trump's stock in the Truth Social, his company, drops any lower, he might do better under my tax plan than his.
The social media site has more than 1 billion active users, with more than 150 of those in the United States. With Fox on Tech, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
Bikers Against Child Abuse, BACA, exists with the intent to create a safer environment for abused children. We exist as a body of bikers to empower children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. We stand ready to lend support to our wounded friends by involving them with an established, united organization. We work in conjunction with local and state officials who are already in place to protect children. We desire to send a clear message to all involved with the abused child that this child is part of our organization and that we are prepared to lend our physical and emotional support to them by affiliation and our physical presence. We stand at the ready to shield these children from further abuse. We do not condone the use of violence or physical force in any manner. However, if circumstances arise such that we are the only obstacle preventing a child from further abuse, we stand ready to be that obstacle. If you'd like to know more about BACA, please visit our website at bacaworld.org or call 1-866-71-ABUSE.
Hi, I'm Dale Brown, best-selling techno-thriller author. I'm also a mission pilot and squadron commander in the Civil Air Patrol. The members of the Civil Air Patrol are volunteer professionals who serve their communities and their nation every day with emergency services, aerospace education, and cadet programs. We train hard, we fly hard, and we get the job done for America. Join the Civil Air Patrol. Visit www.gocivilairpatrol.com and let's go flying.
This is Dave from the Dave Matthews Band for RAD. When you go out and party, get drunk, then drive, you're not only loaded, you're a loaded weapon. When you celebrate, designate. Choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Celebrating 20 years of enlightening Acadiana. Moon Griffon, next on News Talk 96.5. Cape Hill.
Showers and thunderstorms continuing across Acadiana today. Looks like they will be arriving a little bit earlier than they have the last couple of days. So you'll want to keep that umbrella with you and keep an eye on the radar. Temperatures at about 90 degrees with a heat index near 100. Winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour with your overnight lows in the mid-70s. As far as tomorrow goes, scattered showers out there again. Drier air not getting in here until Friday. From the Storm Team 3 Weather Lab, I'm KTC meteorologist Daniel Phillips on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Thank you, Daniel. Currently, we have 77 degrees, few more clouds floating in. We do have a possibility of rain later on this Wednesday morning.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Right now, traffic.
We do have a road hazard at the intersection of Westgate Road and Olive Vista. That is in Scott, that new section of Westgate, so definitely keep that in mind. Also, a vehicle accident in the 200 block of Ambassador Caffrey. We told you about that last time. That's Ambassador Caffrey at its intersection with Willow Drive. So definitely keep those areas in mind, buckle it up, and keep it safe.
If you see a faded sign at the side of the road that says 15 miles to the
Welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope in with you on this Wednesday morning. We also have Superintendent of Lafayette Parish Schools, Francis Touchette, in, and his Director of Early Childhood Education, Emmy Thibodeau. And you guys were telling me during the break about a new childhood learning center. So address that, please. It sounds like a beautiful facility that hasn't been open for all that long.
Yeah, it's a state-of-the-art building as far as early childhood. It's somewhere where we've gotten an architect to really think about, what is it that we need to be able to stimulate our kids at that particular age. It's at the corner of University and Willow. It's a $38 million building in which it houses just 4-year-olds from all over our district. We bus our students into that particular facility where, again, they're getting a facility that is really just going to be something that they can actually look towards as far as broadening their horizon. So we are very proud of that facility. It's something of which our board has really put forth the efforts as far as making sure these facilities that we have here in Lafayette Parish are the state of the art, and we're really proud of that.
Right. And so with that learning facility, there's nothing going on per se this summer other than, I believe, an enrollment period. Is that correct, Emmy?
Absolutely. So we are going to be at Truman Early Childhood Education Center, which is our newest pre-K program, new facility. It is June 18th through the 20th. We will be on site at Truman offering support for families, whether you would be attending Truman or not. You can come on out to Truman, check out the facility, and also get your child enrolled for the fall.
Mm-hmm. When you guys made me aware of that new facility out at Truman, I said, wow. And, well, as the discussion went, I believe you told me, Emmy, that there are, quote, no camps going on at that new early childhood development center. But speaking of camps, there are quite a few camps going on right now in Lafayette Parish, although enrollment is closed. But I just wanted the listening audience to be aware of the many camps, all the services offered throughout the summer by the Lafayette Parish school system. So could you address that, please?
So on our website, there is a banner that kind of shows when all of these different camps are taking place. We have them spread out throughout the Lafayette Parish school system, in which students are able to participate in STEM camps, and students are able to participate in arts and so on and so forth. And a lot of these different camps are free of charge to our students, and it's just something of which it's to make sure that that continuous learning is taking place even in the summer months. You know, we look at research, and it's just like anything else, that if you're going to get better at something, that brain needs to continue to do the things that it needs to. And we just feel like the importance of having a layover in the summertime. That's why we always encourage parents. Listen, make sure your kids are reading. Make sure that your kids are engaged in some type of activities so that that brain can continue to be stimuli to where when we get back in the fall, it just, you know, they're ready to go. So it's something of which we have invested over the years, and we just feel as though that is a benefit for us getting our kids ready for the 24-25 school year.
Mm-hmm. And my guess is, Superintendent Touchette, you have made visits to some of these summer camps.
Yeah, I'm in those schools every day. I've visited a lot of them. We have summer school that is also going on right now, to where our Ms. Janine LaFleur, our curriculum person at the district, is doing an excellent job, along with all of these principals and all of these sponsors that are working to get our kids ready for the 24-25 school year.
Love it. Love it. Hands-on, Superintendent Francis Touchette. And we're going to take our bottom of the hour news break. And then following that, I want the superintendent just to give us a little report, if you will, on a conference he attended last week in New Orleans. And I think our audience will appreciate that. So more coming up with Francis Touchette, Superintendent of Lafayette Parish School System, and Emmy Thibodeau, Director of Early Childhood Education. Stay with us. Bottom of the hour news break coming up.
KPEL covers Acadiana with Lowry's Printing and Copying.
Join the Hilliard Art Museum on St. Mary Boulevard in Lafayette for their annual summer reception Friday, June 14th, as they celebrate their 2024 exhibitions. Loads of beautiful artwork by local renowned artists. And the beautiful artwork is complemented by hors d'oeuvres, drinks, and music. Get more details at 482-2278. Second Harvest Food Bank hosting its third annual Duck Derby to benefit families facing hunger in Acadiana. The event is Saturday, June 29th at St. Julian Park in Broussard, 1 to 4 p.m. Loads of family fun. And if your Ducky wins, you're helping a great organization and you could win some prizes. Find out about purchasing your ducks. Go to no-hunger.org/ducks. See you in Broussard, June 29th.
This is House Call for Health. A longtime member of Congress confirms she has cancer. Texas Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who's been in the House since 1995 and serves on 3 important committees, announcing she has pancreatic cancer and is undergoing treatment. Jackson Lee says she may occasionally be absent from Congress, but will continue to serve, and that her doctors have the best plan to combat the cancer. Lee serves on the Judiciary, Homeland Security, and Budget committees. The Mayo Clinic describes this type of cancer as beginning as a growth of cells in the pancreas, which lies behind the lower part of the stomach and makes enzymes that help digest food and hormones that help manage blood sugar. The Mayo Clinic adds it's rarely caught at early stages because it doesn't usually cause symptoms until after it is spread to other organs. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Your 24/7 news source, on air, online, and with the KPEL News app. Now the headlines from the KPEL News Center.
It's Wednesday, time to take a look at your morning news. I'm Joe Cunningham. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office began what they thought was just another narcotics investigation, but it turned far worse and they needed to call in their Special Investigations Unit. The investigation, which began back in February, initially targeted Eric Bulliard, who was suspected of narcotics-related activities. Bulliard is the owner-operator of T. John's Mobile Home Park on Norris Road in rural Iberia Parish. However, things took a much more serious turn when the Special Investigations Unit uncovered more alleged crimes, including multiple sex crimes. One pivotal moment in the investigation occurred when the United States Postal Inspection Service reached out to SIU regarding an ongoing inquiry into his activities. This collaboration shed light on other potential criminal activities. Those allegations, which include the multiple sex crimes, prompted the involvement of the Louisiana State Police Special Victims Unit to bolster the investigation. Here we are months later, and Bulliard, age 44, has found himself in the custody of the Iberia Parish Jail. He faces a slew of charges filed by the Louisiana State Police and the Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office related to the alleged sex crimes purported to have occurred in recent years. He is being charged with first-degree rape and molestation of a juvenile or person with a physical or mental disability, both serious felonies under Louisiana law. Those were charges from Louisiana State Police. The Iberia Parish Sheriff's Department levied charges of misdemeanor sexual battery and felony indecent behavior with a juvenile against him. He has a bond set for $1.25 million and waits further legal proceedings. The Lafayette Police Department is investigating in findings of a Louisiana Consolidated Government Administrative Investigation following the resignation of Walter Guillory, a former Parks and Recreation employee who served time in federal prison for bid rigging and wire fraud while director of 2 housing authorities. Guillory was hired in 2019 as the athletic program supervisor, a civil service position, serving as a liaison between the Parks Department and Lafayette's volunteer youth sports associations. He was hired during the administration of former Mayor President Joel Robideau. Gerald Boudreaux was Parks and Recreation Director at the time. The Robideau administration said at the time that Guillory would not be handling any money, but it did raise concerns in the community because he had previously served time in federal prison. And Governor Jeff Landry is out calling on the Biden administration to deregulate the oil and gas industry. If the federal government took its foot off the neck of American industry, we could absolutely lower the cost of everyday goods to American citizens, Landry said at an event in Chalmette when he was there with a contingent of Republican governors from across the U.S., this according to Channel 4 WWL in the New Orleans area. The group, which included the governors of Oklahoma, Georgia, Virginia, Alaska, New Hampshire, and North Dakota, blamed the Biden administration policies and regulations for driving inflation. And that is a look at your morning news from the KPEL News Desk. I'm Joe Cunningham. Pack your bags. We want to send you and a guest to experience the magic of Def Leppard's Summer Stadium Rock Tour this August. We want to fly you and a guest to San Antonio, Texas, where you'll see Def Leppard, Journey, and the Steve Miller Band in concert at the one and only Alamo Dome. What do you need to do? It's simple. Just listen to News Talk 96.5 KPEL weekdays for the codes you'll need to enter. Every day between now and June 7th at 9, 12, and 3 p.m., you're going to get a code. Enter that into the KPEL app, and you've got a chance to win. You'll get 2 tickets to see Def Leppard with Journey and the Steve Miller Band at the Alamo Dome on Friday, August 16th. Round-trip airfare for 2 to San Antonio, a 2-night hotel stay, and $500 spending money. If you don't have the KPEL app, you need to download it immediately. Listen every day at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 3 p.m. for your chance to win tickets to the Summer Stadium Rock Tour with Def Leppard and Journey on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Your weather for this Wednesday. Right now, we're looking at quite a few clouds floating in, and Daniel Phillips told us that we could see rain a bit earlier today, 60% chance of an afternoon shower on this Wednesday, possibly coming as early as late this morning. Your high today, 90 degrees for tonight. Chance of rain down to 20%, overnight low at 75. And for your Thursday, 91 for an expected high, 40% chance of an afternoon shower. Right now, 77 degrees.
News Talk 96.5, KPEL. Right now, traffic.
Just one wreck that is a little bit persistent. It's been up on the board for a while, and that is Ambassador Caffrey at its intersection with Willow, so keep that area in mind. Wreck should be off the road or being cleared, if not off the road by now. Definitely buckle it up and keep it safe. All right, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome back into Acadiana's Morning News. I wanted to hold Superintendent Francis Touchette over just a little bit, and because you attended a conference last week, Superintendent Touchette, in New Orleans, and I believe was it officially called a Teacher Summit?
Yeah, every year teachers all over the state come together at the end of the year, and it's right after Memorial Day, in which we, gather around and we talk about, what is happening in education. It's an opportunity also for superintendents to come together and talk about best practices, talk about some of the strengths and the weaknesses that they're having within their districts. And it's also an opportunity for me to be able to sit alongside of teachers and to know, what teachers are going through and what is it that they need to take into consideration as they are preparing for the next school year.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding. So, yeah, I like your hands-on approach. And, look, part of this segment is for you to be able to inform our listeners about what's happening at the Lafayette Parish School System, but also part of it is for the general public in Lafayette Parish to become more acquainted with you. And I think it's interesting, you did a public affairs program with us recently, and part of your background in education, once you got out of college, you taught for a while, and then you were principal at Erath High School, which that year, one of the years where you served as principal, it was named School of the Year in Louisiana, correct?
Yeah, it was the number one public high school in the state of Louisiana, and it was again, a great honor, but, again, I go back to it's the students, it's the community, it's the teachers that assembled within that school that, just did an outstanding job of raising up that love of education. Mark, I'll just say again, as a person who has gone through all of those different jobs, I reiterate every single day to the personnel that surround me is that we are only as good as what is going on in the classrooms. We should never forget what teachers are going through every single day. And that is why I've always stated that 75% of my time that I spent as a superintendent is going to be in schools. That is where I can connect with teachers. I can connect with different support personnel to make sure that I'm hearing what those needs are. And we try to do that same type of thing in all of our different departments that, hey, when we hire someone, it's about, hey, yes, you are the supervisor, but does not mean that you can't get your hands dirty just like every other person that is working. It's about getting the job done and making sure that we are, preaching what we say that we're going to do.
Sure. No, I just really like your perspective, and I just want the listening audience to know some of that perspective based on your experience, Superintendent Touchette. And so you didn't come just from Erath High School to the Lafayette Parish School System. You served for a number of years at the Louisiana Department of Education, and you oversaw 48 districts in the state of Louisiana. Is that correct?
Yeah. In 2012, I left Erath High School, and from there I became a network leader that was, tasked with overseeing school districts and working alongside of superintendents and principals throughout the state. It gave me a very interesting perspective of how education is actually taking place throughout, and also built relationships. And it was just something of which, your knowledge of what people are doing as far as best practices, you can take those things and put them in place. That's pretty much what I have actually done as a superintendent. It's not that I have just come up with these ideas about how school systems are run. I'm just looking at what are these best practices that are happening throughout the state and just making sure that we are providing the citizens of Lafayette Parish with the best education possible.
Yes. And I know when you say we, I know you're very appreciative of your team of administrators, teachers, what is entailed when you say Lafayette Parish School System. Yes, you're the superintendent, but you have the people under you, and everybody has to be working toward a common goal to keep excellence in our public school system.
There's nothing about this I mean, it's about we as a team. We are doing this. We will do this together. I say that all the time, that we're only as good as what's happening at the school level. And I want our team to always keep that in perspective because it's about what our kids need every single day. I'm just excited that we have this opportunity to work here in Lafayette Parish, and really looking forward to making sure that every one of our 48 sites are community-based, making sure that they're focused on learning and making sure that culture and climate is a big piece to where parents are involved in school every single day.
Indeed. Well, we always appreciate your time, Superintendent Touchette, and we'll do it again next week. And you guys have a great week out there at the Lafayette Parish school system.
Thank you, Mark.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Depend on it.
And welcome back to Acadiana's Morning News. Mark Pope here with you. And you say, well, where's Tracy, Mark? Well, Tracy's taking care of some important business. She'll be back with us later this week. And tomorrow is a big day in history. It is D-Day, the anniversary of D-Day and the invasion of Normandy. And so we're going to focus a good bit on that tomorrow because that is a very significant day in the history of the United States and, for that matter, the history of the world. So we have that to look forward to on tomorrow, and there's so much to be thankful for the many veterans who have served our great country. And we just passed Memorial Day. And, of course, that is the day when we memorialize and thank those veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice. And certainly during World War II, we had many, many, many veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice. So focus tomorrow on D-Day, and we'll take your thoughts and comments on that tomorrow as well. So right now, in the here and now, in real time, as they say, lots of things going on with our federal government. Yesterday, President Joe Biden signed an executive order invoking some of his executive power or privilege. And, look, I guess something is better than nothing, but why did it take the president nearly 4 years to invoke that power? And what we've got is, I have not read the executive order, but what we've got is limiting migrant crossings to 2,500 per day. And once we reach that milestone, then no more requests for amnesty. And I'm thinking, wow. Again, I guess you could say something is better than nothing, but here is what I have learned, and it's out there in the news stories for all to learn about and think about, is that this is not, when you talk about an executive order, that is enforced at the discretion of the President of the United States by the Commander-in-Chief. And so if it took President Biden 4 years to finally use that executive power, I have my reservations about whether he will actually apply the orders written in his executive order. Because we've had an open border for nearly 4 years now. So it just makes one kind of wonder and question, is this for political reasons to try to strengthen your numbers as we head into the November election? I think so. I think so, because so much we talk about executive orders. Some of the early things that President Biden did was to revoke those executive orders, many executive orders that Donald Trump had implemented. And that was to continue building a border wall. That was to continue the policy of remain in Mexico, where you couldn't just come across the border with, well, they're seeking amnesty. And if you look at those migrants, I'll be magnanimous in my use of terms. If you look at migrants who come across our border seeking amnesty, many of those requests are denied. So we have people pouring across the border illegally, and there's been what's happened is the Department of Homeland Security is not enforcing the law which Congress has written. But we're being told that Congress needs to make more laws. Okay, we'll continue that discussion tomorrow. That's it for today. You guys have a great Wednesday. Moon Griffon is up next. We'll see you tomorrow.
The Fox Business Report is brought to you by Gulf Coast Bank, your local community bank. Whether your financial needs are for an individual, a business, or for the whole family, Gulf Coast Bank has the knowledge and products to serve you best. With 9 convenient locations throughout Acadiana, you're never far from a friendly Gulf Coast Bank associate.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
There's another report suggesting the job market may be cooling. Payroll processing company ADP is reporting 152,000 new jobs created by private employers in May. It's the smallest job growth this year. The number is down from April's 188,000, which was revised lower and weaker than economists were predicting. ADP says job gains and pay growth are slowing going into the second half of the year. Wall Street is looking at some upbeat earnings. Campbell's sales rose 7%, helped by its purchase of the Rao's sauce parent company Sovos brands. Land's End earnings top forecasts. Mortgage rates are higher in the latest reading from the Mortgage Bankers Association. The average for a 30-year fixed rate, 7.07% in the week ending May 31st. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
Gold demand is hitting record highs, but supply may not keep up. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your retirement savings from a chaotic world. To learn how to diversify your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals, text the word SHELTER to 989898 for a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Let's get ready for something fresh and exciting with the Josh Guillory Show. Josh Guillory brings a new perspective to the airwaves, analyzing news and issues coming out of Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C., and breaking down how they affect you. Engaging, raw, and informative, Guillory knows how to have fun while delivering the latest in politics and current events. With daily features that entertain and inform, you won't want to miss a single episode. The Josh Guillory Show, 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, only on News Talk 96.5, KPEL,